trust what they're saying. You can't. And so there's no real oversight in government. There's no checks and balances anymore. They don't work. And that's a fundamental problem with our government. Our whole process is failing us. And the courts seem to be going along with it. That is, if I were on the Supreme Court and the Solicitor General did that to me and I found out about it, the first thing I would do would be to reinstate that case back in the court. I mean, after all, you don't permit perjury to let you get rid of a genuine concern of the public. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're allowing perjury by the government to determine what, in fact, is tested in the courts in terms of constitutionality. And that's in my book, that is what treason is all about. You're fundamentally going after the foundations of this government and corrupting it. That, to me, is real treason.
Well, it certainly is treason, and now if they're able to do this, then the sky's the limit. What comes next? I mean, it's just a total overthrow of our system. Please continue. Well, I mean, that's the whole point. It's a total destruction of any of the rights you thought you had under the Constitution. I mean, it's simply a matter of we no longer have a Constitution. And that's the real problem that I see. I think we need to stand up. I mean, I can't understand why these judges on these courts can actually look themselves in the eye when they shave in the morning. I mean, after all, they know what the law is. They should know. They know the Fourth Amendment says you don't have data. The government doesn't have data on a U.S. citizen unless you state the citizen's name, the data you're after, and also show probable cause of why you're going at it and where you're going to get it. Now, all that, none of that is happening with the hundreds of millions of U.S. citizens that they're collecting data on. None of that's happening. Sure, and the argument is, well, we're doing this to stop bad guys. But the truth is... That's a lie, too. Well, exactly. They're using it to consolidate the takeover. Well, from your expert view, what is it really being used for, sir? Well, it's being used to set up the way and means to control the population. I mean, I call NSA as a central repository of knowledge on the U.S. citizens and everybody else on the planet, by the way, for the U.S. government, all departments of the U.S. government. So I've been referring to it as the new Stasi agency, because that's exactly what the Stasi did. They had files on everyone. And they had people spying on them right and left. You know, even your neighbors would spy on you. Well, that's what's happening internally in NSA now. They're talking about having people, if you see something, say something. That's the kind of thing they're talking about internally in NSA now. Well, I mean, you know, that's the Stasi in spades. I mean, Tom Drake was over in Germany a year or two ago, and he met up with an older German couple, and they said to him, well, you know, we the Germans, we are a post-fascist state, and we know it. But you are in fact a pre-fascist state and don't even know that. So, I mean, the point is we have to wake up here. What do you do, though, when you're faced with true tyranny? This is classical tyranny, not just with the warrantless, ubiquitous, omnipresent spy grid, but the fact that major corporations have lined up to seamlessly Trojan horse surveillance into every device, into our cars, tax by the miles coming out, all the smart meters spying, all the new appliances, with the former CIA director bragging that your washing machine, you know, will listen to you. This is already going on, and it's becoming ubiquitous, and then it's being used illegally, and it's being used to rig markets, rig the stock market. I mean, this is really a 21st century takeover. Yes, it is. And that's something that we need to all stand up and object to. I mean, if we don't, it's going to happen to us. If you don't stand up, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Well, if you don't become the squeaky wheel, you don't get satisfaction anywhere. Certainly not in our. You can't really call what we have now a clear democracy, because after all, it's more like a police state. William Binney, a former director and leader for intelligence with the NSA, joins us, the biggest whistleblower in NSA history, hands down. But he's just giving you the general view, none of the classified stuff here. Even though they've tried to put him in jail, we'll talk some about that. We'll also get his view on what he thinks the culture's like inside these agencies that are illegally doing it. What's the morale like at the NSA and beyond with William Binney? I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us.
It's very easy to be a criminal. All you need to burglarize a home is one simple household tool, a pair of scissors. If your home security system can be compromised by a criminal using scissors, then you're making it easy for them. Almost every home security system, even those sold by big-name companies, has a weakness: the phone line. You shell out $1,500, get locked into a long-term contract, and think you're safe. But a burglar can destroy your alarm in seconds with one snip. And when a burglar cuts your phone line, you're defenseless. Simply Safe Home Security is the smarter choice. Built by Harvard engineers, Simply Safe uses a wireless connection to call the cops. Scissors can't cut it. And that means your home stays safe. 24/7 professional monitoring is under $15 a month with no contract. Simply Safe Home Security keeps you safer than the other guys for half the cost. Protect your home with the alarm you can trust. Simply Safe. Go to simplysafedefense.com now for an exclusive 10% offer. That's simplysafedefense.com.
The lining of your lungs is supposed to be protected with glutathione to neutralize incoming irritants. In the absence of enough glutathione, your lungs are more prone to irritation. Listen to the real-world results of one man using a powerful glutathione-supporting food.
Hi, my name is Bill O'Brien. I generally suffer through an asthmatic breathing type situation. My breathing is shallow and generally constricted in the nose and lungs. After consuming One World Whey today, I have tremendous energy, and also notice my breathing is free. I can feel the air in my left nostril, and it is free all the way to my abdomen, which is pretty remarkable because I rarely get that feeling. Being a singer, I love feeling this unrestricted voice. The only thing new I've actually added to my routine is One World Whey. Wow.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworld, WHEY.com.
Hi, folks. Alex Jones here with some important information. I want to tell you about Matt Redhawk and his team of patriots over at My Patriot Supply. Several years ago, Matt was sitting in his two-bedroom apartment, frustrated with the direction this country was headed and the charlatans willing to sell us out for a quick buck. Deciding to take action, a company run by patriots for patriots was born. My Patriot Supply has never taken a loan or accepted outside funding. They now operate 2 distribution facilities and employ over 50 hardworking American men and women. It is rare to find companies who practice what they preach. And that's why I stock my pantry with high-quality storable foods from My Patriot Supply. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/Alex today for special offers on emergency food storage, or call their preparedness specialist at 866-229-0927. That's 866-229-0927. Do business with someone who shares your values. mypatriotsupply.com/Alex.
What looks good under your Christmas tree and tastes even better? Big Berkey water filters. Yes, the gift of clean water. A gift that provides a great foundation for achieving good health in the lives of your loved ones. A Big Berkey water filter gives them protection from bacteria, heavy metals, chlorine, fluoride, pesticides and herbicides, VOCs and more. And best of all, a Big Berkey water filter is a gift that lasts for many years with no additional investment. And that saves time and money in filter replacements that other water filters require, and are even powerful enough to purify treated, untreated, or even stagnant pond water. As always, all orders over $50 are shipped free, and GCN listeners get 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Order online at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com, spelled Big, B-E-R-K-E-Y, waterfilters.com, or call 877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Gift well this Christmas. Give a Big Berkey water filter.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control.
William Binney, former technical director of the National Security Agency, basically a number 2, 3, or 4 position, depending on how you look at it, a major director of the NSA, here with us today. So there are good people from the system telling the truth. In fact, there are so many. But mainstream media tries to ignore them or vilify them or demonize them. I want to talk about the morale at the NSA. Listeners can tweet at hashtag NSA Insider capitalize NSA and then lower caps insider, hashtag NSA Insider for your questions. Those are coming up in the next segment. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Your chance to talk to a very honorable person, in my view, who has a lot of courage and sacrificed their career to try to defend our republic, and who worked at the NSA trying to defend us from foreign enemies, which is what it was set up for. William, what about the morale at the NSA from your view? And what about your former colleagues? What are they saying to you, A? And then B, tell folks a little bit about the persecution you've gone through just to understand the level of tyranny we're dealing with.
Well, I think I don't talk directly to anybody that works at NSA still, simply because if I did, you know, I'm a target. I have been for quite a while, so they would, of course, be targeted by the FBI and interrogated by FBI and internal security at NSA. So I don't do that to them. But I know that they've instituted programs that get agency employees to spy on one another, which simply means that it's just like East Germany. I mean, you've got your neighbors are spying on you, and here it's your neighbors you're working with and trying to do the job. That's a very hostile environment. No one could. You're basically shaking the trust of individuals that are trying to do a job internally in the government. I mean, that makes it very a very unhealthy atmosphere to work in. I mean, that's simply unproductive. It destroys initiative and so on, because nobody wants to do anything for fear that somebody will think it's something wrong, and so they'll get informed on and be interrogated. That's the way it was in East Germany. That's why their whole society stagnated. So that's a real counterproductive process for them to set up. And I know internally that people who have retired from NSA come through the retirement chain. We get the word back from them saying basically that there's an awful lot of people there who are kind of upset at what they're doing at spying on domestically, and so but they're so afraid to do anything because they've looked at what they've done to us, which gets into your follow-on point there. They in order to try to silence anybody from objecting internally in NSA, what they did was they threatened us with persecution and up to 35 years in jail. You know, using the 1917 Espionage Act, which we at that time we were all staying at the point. The only one who was outside the government complaining about it was Tom Drake, and he was talking to the Baltimore Sun, but he didn't release anything classified, and that was agreed to by the government in court. So they were really coming after us just to shut us down from exposing the corruption, fraud, waste, abuse that was going on, as well as all of the unconstitutional activity. So, and they used the FBI first to raid us and take all our property and threaten us with guns. Some of us directly, the follow-on was the Department of Justice used all of their power to try to indict us and put us in jail so that we would be out of sight and out of mind permanently, so to speak.
Literal political prisoners.
Yep.
And of course, describe. You talk about being raided at gunpoint. What was that like?
Well, it's kind of it's really strange to be coming out of your shower in the morning and have somebody pointing a gun at you. So you look at the end of a barrel of a pistol as you're coming out of the shower, having no idea why they're doing this to you. I mean, after all, we were trying to work within the government all the way up to then, but they just didn't want us doing it. That's all. It was just too embarrassing. They didn't want anybody in government to know what they were doing, and that's important too, because that gets back to checks and balances. Now, if that's the case, how can any part of government check any other part of government? They can't.
That's right. You're doing your job as one of the top code breakers in history, running the NSA. You leave honorably, try to work to the government, and then their answer is to send a SWAT team to your house to intimidate you. If this isn't oppression, I don't know what is. But the good news is it's coming out. William Binney's our guest. Your questions from Twitter at Real Alex Jones and your phone calls straight ahead. Long segment coming up. What an incredibly honorable, good man We need more like him, don't we? Stay with us. I'm Alex Jones.